the Communications Manager for Idaho STEM Action Center. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am joined by Dr. Sin Ming Loo from Boise State University. Dr. Loo, could you introduce yourself and give us a rundown of your position?
Oh yeah, this can get complicated because by academic, right? I'm a professor of electrical and computer engineering, but I actually do very little for electrical and computer engineering because part of my position now, I also support a online cybersecurity program that I help design and still run. And this is the fourth year existence of the program. So I spend a lot of time running that program. I also have an INL joint appointment, Idaho National Lab. So I'm 25% helping with some research project, but mostly working with the cybersecurity workforce development with the Idaho National Lab.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Could you tell me a little bit about your training experience, your career path up to this point? Like thousand foot view.
All right. So since we don't have an all day for this, so by training, right, my undergraduate education was actually in electrical engineering, and my master and PhD were in computer engineering. And that is when I become professor. And for years, I have been doing system or sensor system design where we design sensor system to study the airliner cabin environment or home air quality or air quality, even studying the sound wave. I use sound wave to track a snow avalanche or even a gunshot detection. So it is all
Wow.
some different version of a sensor system. So when you work on system, you always needed to worry about different feature and different things that you needed for a good system to be designed or system to be well protected. So as this is probably about 2016 and 2017, that is when I somehow got pulled into a meeting with Idaho National Lab and was talking about cybersecurity and cybersecurity workforce. And from that meeting and subsequent years of work, right, we started to look into what is it that we need to do to educate our engineering graduate for them to know a little bit about cybersecurity so they are aware of it, and then potentially they can design some of the problem out of the system instead of included the weaknesses or vulnerability in the system. So now we have a pathway for engineering students to learn something about cybersecurity. And while we are doing that work, right? So that folks across the campus at BSU ask us, what about the rest of us who are not technical, right? So I'm like, we're not technical, so how can you help us learn this too? So we also, because of that, we also design something called Cyber for All. It is, you think
Mhm.
about it's the non-technical cybersecurity learning for the non-technical role or non-technical people or people doesn't have the engineering or STEM background. And one thing leads to another, and we started to write a proposal because we talked to a lot of industry expert and also Idaho National Lab, right? So we found out that our education process or pathway actually really doesn't graduate student who actually work in the operational based cybersecurity. So you're talking about day to day, not the people who design code or write code or design system, right? It's people who have to deploy it, have to do risk assessment and risk management. So let us to writing a proposal to Idaho Workforce Development Council uh, on setting up a cyber operation-based program. And we actually started that project is designing a 12 credit hour, 4 to 6 classes, undergraduate certificate. But as we were doing that, we expand the scope into designing 2 undergraduate degree and 1 graduate degree that lead to us having a cyber operation and resilient program. As of now, is close to 400 students. So I know
Wow.
this is a long-winded story of how I kind of do what I do today. It's just because, it's
Mhm.
like different forces and things were happening at the right time. And INL was also helping in terms of where my time were going because they wanted to see that happen too. So a joint
Mhm.
appointment happened to be able to allow me to dedicate time to continue to work on the program development. So
All right. So twisty path to get where you are now, but ultimately worth it, it sounds like.
yeah, it is a lot of fun, but some days not so much fun.
Isn't that every job in the world, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what projects are you working on in cybersecurity right now? You've mentioned some of them. Can you get a little more into them and what impact you foresee them having?
Um, the so there are a few projects I'm working on, and some of them workforce development, some of them more purely research and development. So one of them
Mhm,
is for years and years we will worry about cybersecurity workforce for the private sector, but
mhm,
probably about 3-4 years now, so probably 3+ year of offering the online cyber program. Cybersecurity workforce for private sector is actually not what I'm worried about because usually private sector can pay the market rate, so they can compete with everyone else for the workforce, right? The one that I'm actually more worried about is the local government and state agency because they can afford to pay the market rate. So what
mhm,
can we do? What can we do as an education institution or education pathway to be able to help the local government and state agency developing their cybersecurity or IT pipeline or workforce into their job role. So I've been collaborating with Idaho ITS and some local county and cities and to help them with projects as part of Capstone, and more importantly, looking at how we can help local student work locally. For example, in some area, right? We have rural student because there is not a community college or there is not a state university nearby. So they get their education to online program, right? So how can we
mhm.
link them up to the local government and nearby state agency for them to work locally? So I'm working on that. So that has been really interesting, really exciting because a lot of people needed to work, but they may
Mhm,
not know there's actually student nearby that are in some education pathway that can actually work for them. Okay. So interested in that. And working on that too, and just submit another proposal to Workforce Development Council, and we'll see where that goes. I also working on a project closely with Idaho National Lab in the cyber informed engineering. Cyber informed engineering is about engineering design. When you design a system, right? So when you design a system, if you pay attention to right sets of things as part of the design process, the idea on that is you are going to have less cybersecurity problems. Okay. So
mhm.
with less cybersecurity problem, you're going to have less vulnerability that you have to deal with down the road. So there's education pathway, there's an implementation guide, and what can we do to help our student to be better at that? So I think these two are the two 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 things existing that I'm working on. Just like to highlight. So
Yeah, sounds like you're involved in a couple of different layers with cybersecurity, and that's good,
yeah,
right?
yep, yep.
Um, yeah, go ahead.
It is about the connection, and you got to find that there's a group of people that needed and wanted the real world learning experience, right? And then you got
Mhm,
another group of people, a group of local government and state agency that needed the help. So how do you link that up, and the right people at the right place, and hopefully locally that's even better, is because um, in this region, especially in Idaho, we have a lot of remote area.
mhm,
It's like maybe one county can afford or doesn't have the capacity to own one full-time cybersecurity person, right? Maybe two or three
mhm,
nearby county can share one. Think about that.
mhm,
Guess what? They have local people support their cybersecurity tasks and for them to be more secure. They don't have to bring in contractor or and a
mhm,
contractor. So because contractor, they will come to you because they have a contract with you. But if you have local people supporting their local resiliency in terms of cyber, there will be, you would think that hopefully that they will be more dedicated because they are protecting their own local environment and local resources and local assets. So
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So
yeah.
that actually kind of leads me into my next question, because you mentioned people being more
Mm,
invested if they are protecting
mm,
their local communities. So how does cybersecurity for average Joe Schmo on the street like me, who isn't a
mm.
cybersecurity professional, how does cybersecurity affect our lives in really obvious ways and also in like more subtle ways that we might not think about?
The obvious way is you probably get a lot of telemarketing call, right?
I do, I do, I get a lot.
They're always trying to fish information out of you, correct?
Yes.
And they or you even get a lot of texts, right? Sometimes they just
Hmm.
wanted you to apply to fish information out of you, correct?
Hmm.
It's what you
Yes.
also get a lot of phishing email too, right? Oh, click on
Yes.
this, or it could be something like, hey, your bank account and has been locked out, and you need to follow this link to enter information, right? So
Hmm.
cybersecurity impact every part of our life, whether we realize it or not. So whether it's through phone call, texting, or phishing email, those are just something that you're aware of.
Hmm.
Cybersecurity has so much to do with our modern life. So you think about the power system, the water system, and there's another one people don't want to think about is the water treatment plant, right? So that
Ooh.
is smelly and dirty, right? But without the system, because those uh, all those system depends on industrial control system for it to be operational, right? And a lot
Mhm,
of them are either internet connected or being managed remotely, right? So those need to be kept secure. So and also think about it, how we get to and to work and what we drive, the traffic controller, the phone
mhm,
system. So everything that we interface with has so much electronics, so especially digital electronics. So our phones, so we can live without it. So if cell phone system network is down, we wouldn't be able to contact our whoever that you want to contact. Okay. So if you think about it, in our modern life, especially these days, everything has something to do with digital electronic. Digital electronic has semiconductor and code running in it. And when it is internet connected, there will always be possibility that somebody can take control of it. So, yep. So it impact every phases of our life, whether we realize it or not. It's just that we sometimes go about without worrying about it is because we never lost it. So let's think about it. If you needed to access a bank account and
mhm.
you have never had trouble accessing it, all of a sudden you had trouble to get to it. And this actually happened a week or two ago with especially I believe that is Bank of America and some bank Bank of America customer logging in were able to log in. They had trouble logging. When they were able to log in, their amount showed to be zero. Wouldn't that be freaking you out if you see that? So,
Yes.
so it's like we wouldn't, we don't comprehend how it can impact us until we don't have it. So yeah,
Right.
so it is. So it impacts everything and everywhere, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah, I guess we live in a world that software and computers and technology is embedded in every aspect of our life, and where there is that, there is also cybersecurity at
Yep.
work, correct?
Mhm. Yep. Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
So you've touched on this a little bit. I wanna dig into it more because it sounds like something that you're really excited about. It's something that obviously those of us looking at the future economy of Idaho, we're all interested in it. What careers are available in cybersecurity at like different levels, and what kind of training do people need to pursue those careers?
Um, there are a lot of on ramp and there are a lot of off ramp. So and there are also a pathway for people to be able to pivot from different careers. So I run a cybersecurity program called Cyber Operation and Resilience. So it has a lot of flexibility pathway where community college students, especially those with AAS in networking, cybersecurity, or computer support specialists, right? There's an easy transfer pathway for them. So, and
Mhm.
also we have a pathway for anyone and everyone wanted to pivot in cybersecurity. There's a graduate pathway for that too. You can
Great.
come in for a full undergraduate degree, transfer in a graduate degree, or you can just come in for some of the certificate as well. So, and in terms of jobs, um, you might think that your previous experience doesn't help, but it does. Let me tell you this. For example, if you ever work in sales and marketing and
Mhm.
or you know how to deal with customer in cybersecurity, a lot of what you do is dealing with people. Okay.
Mhm.
Knowing how to deal with people is actually key. And there are jobs in risk assessment, risk management, and there can be jobs in cybersecurity awareness training. There can be job in, when you write program or design system, how to do it better and more secure. You can be a pen tester. What pen tester mean is you testing how easily a network can be getting into it. So there's a red team, there's a blue team, or a purple team, a combination of red and blue. Red means that these are people that are trying to get in. So, and then the blue are the one that are trying to defend it. So you work together to be able to beef up the defense of the network so that you find the vulnerability and fix them before the bad people can find them. So, and again, there's probably this particular one, which they could also be cybersecurity project management. So they are operational based cybersecurity, and there's threat hunting, and there is also threat intelligence and collecting information. So there's a lot of jobs. There's a lot of different jobs. Um, but interestingly, when you're looking for cybersecurity jobs, right, you're gonna have to find ways to get yourself some experience too. So there's a reason why I'm so interested in working on that ruler, and also helping local government, state agency finding their cybersecurity talent too, is because they have a sandbox, a real world sandbox, the real world environment where somebody can learn. And
Mhm.
maybe they hire them as an intern for a little bit, and then you know what? I say, wow, this is a really good intern. We would like to hire as a permanent employee, right? So
Mhm.
the cool thing about this is that like those people, what if those people get very good and then they leave? That's okay, because we have more people coming behind them that hungry for that experience, and then that's probably where the next employee is gonna come from. So a
Mhm.
lot of jobs, but you gotta be careful too, is we joke about, I kind of joke about it with students that it is not like a rainbow that you can walk to and then there's a pot of gold on the other side, right? It does take a lot of hard work. It does take a lot of
Mhm.
experience. It does take a lot of going above and beyond. It is not just education. It's about how do you apply it to, are you going out there and doing that networking? So it's
Mhm.
really competitive. So you got to do everything and anything to be able to get to the top, or get above and talking to people who are hiring. So yep. So I hope that's good.
Plenty of jobs out there. It is good. It sounds like you're feeling optimistic about the workforce in cybersecurity. Is that
Um, I pretty optimistic mostly, and someday it's like someday when you look at student and say, wow, that one go above and beyond, doing great. We have
Mhm.
student, I have seen student working at Power Engineers and look, Crater Point, Micron, State of Idaho, Ada County Highway
Mhm.
District, right? So they have been all successful. But there are some that seems to be having trouble cracking something. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's being personable, and also learn how to be personable and talking to people. That people skill, that people skill I
Mhm.
talked about earlier. It is really important knowing how to talk to people and learn how to do it well. That's why hiding in a basement, in mom and dad's basement, is never gonna work. You gotta go out and talk to people. And if you think that finishing a degree program and somebody is going to give you a remote job that you can work from basement, that's probably not going to work. And you got to go out there and find that opportunity. Start from somewhere. It doesn't mean that you cannot work your way back, but start somewhere and
Mhm.
work your way back.
Yeah. Create a diversified and well-rounded,
Yep.
skill set.
Yep.
That sounds great. Well, I just have one question for you left.
Yep.
This has been amazing so far. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yep.
So my last question for you is, what is the most important thing that you want the general public to know about cybersecurity?
Um, don't don't click on everything and don't answer that call.
Don't
Don't
click.
don't
I love it.
reply to that text. Sometimes no action is a good action, but I actually have more than one thing. So yeah, don't click. Be careful what you click. If somebody asks you to send money or log into something, and then hover your pointer over that link and look at what it is, and pay attention
Mhm.
to it. And usually you realize that, the old saying goes, right? If it is fishy, that is probably problematic and just ignore it.
Right.
However, emergency or urgency that is when somebody trying to rush you and telling you is urgent, right? There probably is another red flag. If somebody tell you to
Mhm.
send money and call that person, don't use that link. Call that person or get in touch with that person, two different mean. And because right now they are machine learning and AI too, right? We're able to
Mhm.
just capture a few minutes, a few seconds, a few minutes of your voice. Will be able to
Mhm.
have a conversation with you. So you gotta be careful with that. So always call the other person on a different mean, two different line, and never to that link that they give it to you and talk to that person to verify it. So the old saying
Mhm.
goes is trust but verify. And in some cases,
Yes.
you shouldn't trust anybody at all.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. Thank you for joining me.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks.